So we're just going to rapid fire some tips. These are things I wish I knew before I started playing. The first one is going to be what armor you're going to use. So initially me playing an archer or a rogue, you would assume you would be selecting leather, but it's actually the case where you can use any armor. So as a ranger, I can use plate and it doesn't change the way my character looks or doesn't have any other negative effects on being an archer. The reason I'm using plate here is because it gives max HP and weapon defense, which just helps you survive a lot longer. Whereas leather has always been considered the worst. So it just gives think, crit, and haste, which they haven't been the best stats for a long time. Cloth is the other one that people often use and I've considered using. Cloth will give you spell defense instead of weapon defense, and it gives you global cooldown on your abilities. So you'll basically be able to cast your abilities without as long as a global cooldown. But at the moment, I'm really liking plate because kind of tanking and AoEing at the same time, and also playing solo. Next tip is in regard to attributes. So a lot of people might think you are just chasing your primary attribute on your gear, which in my case would be might. The stats you want to pursue on your gear, if you can, this will be more relevant at higher level tiers where you get a secondary attribute boost, is going to be attack damage or weapon power. Or in the case of casters, it might be spell power. So they're going to be way more valuable. You'll see they sell for a lot more on the marketplace with high attack power or weapon power. Another tip here is you can hold shift and you can do these in increments of 10 to save you a lot of clicking. Another way to boost your stats is always have food buffed on your character. You can have one baked good as well as a drink and a meal as well. So you can have all three of these stacked up. They don't override each other. You can also have a weighted stone. So this does attack power. We mentioned how important attack power is. Again, that's 4 buffs already. And then you can also have a potion, which can get a bit more expensive early in the game because not a lot of people do alchemy, but you can also have a potion. These last a little bit, not as long as the food. The food lasts 30 minutes. You can see quite strong there. Even the lesser one gives you 10 might. If you don't have cooking, you could probably get a lot of these quite cheap on the marketplace because a lot of cooks will be spamming these just to level up. Next tip is your mount. You'll get this, I believe, at 15 just from a quest. Now, you'll see the health bar here. Don't stress out if this gets to 0. You won't lose your mount or anything. It just means it won't walk as fast. You'll lose a bit of speed. How do you feed your mount again? You'll have to buy treats down here at the vendor. These got buffed to 2,000 silver each, so it's a bit more expensive and it's actually harder to make as a cook as well. So spending this early on probably isn't that viable or maybe even advised unless you're doing really well with silver. The other thing you want to eventually pursue with the mount is your mount gear. So eventually you would want to upgrade your mount equipment. You'll just need to buy some components from the marketplace and then go down to the builder. He'll actually show you what you need to build. This will be kind of mid to late game. You might pursue this and you'll be able to build yourself some mount upgrades. This will just give you things like movement speed, but maybe more importantly, you'll get a reduced % chance of being demounted when you hit. This could be particularly important with trade packs, which we'll get into as well. The other thing you want to look at is wagons, which you'll be given one in a quest line, but you could upgrade that as well. Wagons are important for trade packs. So trade packs can be a very good source of silver. Silver is going to be super important, something you want to hold on to. These all have ingredients that you will need to either buy from the marketplace or gather yourself. And then you'll go over to a trade post. You can find these in basically any town or city. Once you go there, you'll speak to the monk and you'll cash in the goods for a trade pack. You will look at which city is in high demand and see the percentages there. So if I was to get the pack from Raven Quest, I might want to deliver this one to Seabreeze, which I'll have to sail across the sea to do. When I get there, I'll get a ton of silver. It might be like 30k or something, depending on this global demand percentage and which city you deliver it to. These are probably not worth doing until you do have the wagon and potentially some upgrades and you can deliver kind of 2 to 5 of these at once. Some people upgrade their ships quite a lot as well and they can sail across the sea in relative safety and deliver a lot of packs at a time. You will get certificates, which gives you a free trade pack. You can trade in the certificate for the trade pack without having the ingredients. You'll get these from quests and things like that. They're not super common, but you will get them and they'll show up in your quest. The other thing to consider here is you can change to plunder mode, and this will cost you a bunch of silver, which you kind of hold on you when you're traveling through plunder mode. This is kind of a once-off cost until you die. If you die, the player that kills you and pick up the plunder and they get the silver, and you have to pay that silver again to enter plunder mode. If you haven't died, you can go back and forth between the channels without spending that silver again. The reason plunder mode is enticing, other than what I just mentioned, if you kill a player, you get their silver, is you also get increased rewards from things like trade packs. So you might get a certain percentage, like 15% more rewards from the trade packs, killing monsters. You'll get more experience. Basically, everything you do, get just a percentage boost, being in that more dangerous PvP mode. Whereas if you're just in the regular server, you are safe from PvP unless you enter a conflict zone. So you might accidentally pass through a conflict zone, which players can kill you if you walk through there, so just be careful that with the trade packs. But if you are doing plunder mode, you'll probably want to do this with a group. So a lot of guilds will organize groups to do trade packs together, so you do it in relative safety, and you can probably kill some people on the way as well, maybe take their trade packs and their plunder mode bonus. In terms of upgrading equipment, you can infuse them. This is a big part of the game, so you go to in the infusion tab, put in the item you want to upgrade, and then put in your infusions. This will upgrade them and you get the increased stat boost. Don't be scared to upgrade these thinking that you'll replace them later with higher tier. You can infuse the high tier weapon or gear when you replace them with your gear you've already upgraded, and it'll basically transfer all that fusion over to the new gear. Hold on to your cosmetic materials. These can be used to cash in at certain NPCs around the world for cosmetics. The cosmetics are obviously cool because they're cosmetics, but they'll also boost your renown, which is going to increase your earnings. If you don't know what I mean by earnings, I will link a video down below explaining what the quest token does. This is a kind of an on-chain currency that can be traded back and forth on decentralized exchanges for real money, but you get these as rewards in-game. And there's also a currency that is used in-game to purchase things like Patreon, Raven packs and things like that. So that'll all be explained in a video I've already posted, so you can go check that out. Cosmetic materials, people might value them quite a lot, so you'll either be able to sell them a decent amount on the secondary market, or you'll pursue these cosmetics yourself just because they look cool or because you want to increase your renown. Another really helpful tip that I wish I knew earlier is if you run into any trouble with quests, before you waste a lot of time trying to find where the thing you need to kill or speak to is, type the quest into YouTube. I can almost guarantee any quest you put in, there will be a video from either Raven Dawn or Raven Quest. That'll help you out a lot and it'll save you a lot of time. I'll also be live streaming, so make sure to subscribe, and yeah, you can ask me anything during those live streams as well. This next tip can be super important as well. You'll notice as you level up, you get skill points and you can level up your skills. Obviously, this is all pretty self-explanatory. The thing that is maybe not so self-explanatory is, let's say you pick your 3 archetypes. In this case, it's Warfare, Archery, Shadow for me, and that gives me Shadow Striker. I can put the skill points in any of these trees. This is what dictates my effective level. So I'm level 15 because all these are level 15. My legacy level is a bit different. This is your kind of total experience across all your archetypes. So right now I haven't leveled any of these other archetypes. If I was to deselect Warfare and go into Spiritual, for example, my effective level would go down. My legacy would stay the same. Now, you might be thinking, why would you do that? Your benefit to leveling up one of your archetypes you're not using is it'll give you extra skill points. So every increment of 10 for your archetype that you're not using, you'll get 1 skill point. So I could level Spiritual to level 10, come back to these 3 Shadow Striker, and I would have an extra skill point from that inactive Spiritual. Sometimes I would even switch over to an inactive archetype when I'm cooking, and I would put all that cooking experience onto the inactive archetype, so I don't have to use that while I'm in the world farming. The other time you would use this is if you have a really good farming spot, so certain mobs that you like to kill and farm that you're really comfortable with, but you out-level that spot, you could add one of your archetypes that you're not using. This will bring your effective level down, and it will make the experience you gain from those mobs relevant again. So you'll be kind of at the level of that farming spot. So I hope that makes sense. You might find you actually don't really need to do this too much. I'd imagine you could probably get all the way to very high level without doing this. Just level your 3 main archetypes, because this used to be much more worth doing because you used to get extra stat points as well for your inactive archetypes. You now only get skill points. And we mentioned making silver with the trade packs, but I'll just mention another few ways of making good silver. The first one, I'd say if you're happy just pursuing a profession almost full time, and the professions that I imagine would make a lot of silver is going to be mining. So you'll find mine sites all around the world. A lot of, I guess, whales or people pursuing endgame really quickly will spend a lot of money on mining and probably even materials for carpentry as well. So cutting down trees would be another one to pursue, but I think mining would probably be the main one. That would be pretty lucrative to pursue. And fishing as well, I've heard, can be quite good as well. And the other way I would say would be getting good at PvP. If you're someone that's been always good at PvP, that would be another way to get good silver. This is how I made a lot of silver previously. You'll unlock these rifts at level, I think they've reduced it to legacy level 30, because right here it says level 50. I think that's way too late in the game. You'll get 3 of these a day from doing your daily quests, these adventure board quests. You can see the Ether Rift charges here. So you'll go into a 1v1 scenario. If you queue up with another player, you can do 2v2. But if you go into 1v1, you'll be playing kind of a PvE scenario. You can see I'm killing monsters here, and then you'll eventually come across the other opponent. You'll have a 1v1 battle. The winner will get to stay on and kill the final boss. This will give you a bunch of items you can sell for silver. The key here is you'll be given the option to go on to play another one for free. The catch is if you lose, the player that beats you gets all your rewards you've already gotten. So it's kind of, you can leave, sell everything, or get another free one, and it's kind of like double or nothing. So if you are really good at this, you could potentially get a lot of silver if you end up winning a lot of these. Now, we have had a big patch on with a lot of buffs and nerfs, so it's hard to tell what's going to be the best archetypes at the moment, but it'll soon become pretty clear, and I'll post a video on the best archetypes for PvP when it becomes a little bit more clear. So if you appreciated this, make sure to like and subscribe and sign up or add my referral code. You can add the referral code into the referral code section. You'll have to copy paste the whole link, and that'll add me to your referral, and this will give you some free Raven packs when the game is launched.